Yes, we are live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and how does it get any better? It's been about 10 days, I think we have finalized. I had the interview with the final guest. Not really. It was the May 2nd, so about 6 days. And that we had our final guest, Maya Dayan, in this Global Perspectives of on Presumptive and Reactive Realities group. And yeah, we wanted to get together with Sarah and talk to you and do a final, farewell closing. It's not a farewell. We'll be everywhere, but just wanted to talk about and give you a sweet closing before, you know, um, other projects. So, hi, Sarah, welcome. And yeah, yeah,
Wow.
what would you like to say to our
Well,
listeners?
there's a couple of things. I would really like to thank every guest that,
Mm-hmm,
we reached out and we asked to be on this series. And what I really found was everyone had a different perception, like a different way of looking of presumption realities and the need of reactive reality.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, I've watched the videos over and over, many times. And what I really found that every single one of, the guests had a different way of looking at it and with clearings or questions. For me, I think Paul Kenny really popped for me when he said it's the lack of question that creates a problem. That
mm-hmm.
just blew my whole paradigm. So anytime that, shit is really coming up or something like that, I really like, all right, what question can I be here?
Mhm,
Um, Instead of like going into a conclusion. And the other thing, when he started talking about like presumption reality in significant, like form, structure, and significant, and the
mhm.
10 keys of, freedom. So yeah, I'm totally grateful for this, and I'm totally grateful for you.
Thank you. Me too.
You are just amazing to say yes when I, ask you about this and like, let's create this, let's do this, and you're
Mhm,
like, yep, and wow, like, and what have you like from the first day to now?
mhm.
Is your whole universe different from like actually, choosing and interviewing and really like what's changed for you?
It is totally changed. First thing, actually, I thought I was not up to this. Like I had the presumptive reality. I like talking, and I like actually. It's almost like ask interviewing, but in life, I ask people questions. I like learning their stories. I like what they took out from their experiences. That kind of conversation always contributes to me in some way, hearing people having real experiences and how they changed their life. And that everyone's perspective, as you said, is so different. It gave us a different flavor. That gave me a muscle of actually, when I talk a little too much sometimes, that in such a short time you can deliver so much. That was a nice
Yeah.
muscle to, and that was one of my asks actually. Like, universe, show me. I know it is possible, and I'm hearing other people doing that. That for me is the biggest thing that I gained from that. That it's a possibility. It doesn't mean you need to talk for hours to deliver something in a few sentences. I know I can do that in writing, but when it comes to talking, it's a different ball game, and that is out of, maybe it seems out of context, but from here, if every one of you listen to them again, like Sarah did, in every interview, a few sentences is hitting you like to the core, like, oh, I did not think of it this way, or I did not perceive it
Yeah.
this way, and it gives you a different awareness. So it's not the quantity or the length, but the quality of the conversations and
And
the
it was the
yeah,
quality and it was the energy where a lot of them were delivering it to.
yes,
So, I mean, I was listening to a fair few of them and going, oh, wow, that's where I've been functioning from. And
yeah,
it was just like, oh, well, especially like being invested in the outcome or result. And this is something that I have been choosing, and it's not a right or wrong, but I've been choosing that in business. And I love when, like, I'm going to go back to Paul because something was Paul, like, he really did talk about a lot of business stuff. He says when you're invested in an outcome, is there's a conclusion in there, and so
hmm,
presumption realities are all, gathered around a conclusion.
yeah,
And so a conclusion isn't a question, isn't a true question. So for me, it was like a real wake up call of where I've been functioning from. And so, like I've been choosing and creating some really weird, wacky shit
hmm,
lately. And what I really noticed was it was a choice, and it
hmm,
was what I was like points of views and presumption reality. And I have this presumption reality is if I'm going to be abused, or I had a presumption reality that I'm abusing myself. When
hmm,
I acknowledged that, I changed it. I chose.
yeah,
I went no more,
yeah, yeah,
and then it started changing. So, these presumption realities are everywhere. Like,
yeah.
it's just been amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And if something is not working for you guys, if something, even though you're asking questions, doing processes, please ask how many presumptive realities and need of reactive realities I have about this that I'm even hiding from myself. And everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, put and poke, all nine, short sports, pull ads and meals.
So,
Let's say you say you're stuck, but the stuckness doesn't change. If even if you ask a question, there's something else you need to be aware of.
yeah.
And all these presumptive realities about that. When, like you said, when you face, when you are aware of the real presumption or the real conclusion you have about a situation, then you have the power to change it if you choose it.
So when you're saying the ones that you're not even aware of, the
Hmm.
ones I started playing with too is, your secret agendas with your presumption reality.
Yeah, yeah.
But the ones that you're keeping, you just brought that up, the ones that you're keeping secret even from you. So you could like, for a while, and I know I could not see it. And it wasn't from a seeing, like seeing, I could
Hmm.
not actually see to change it until I was just like, I have this in my world and I have this hiding because it was, all this hiding energy was coming up. So I kept going, all the presumption reality around and with hiding.
Yes.
Um, and usually with presumption reality, what I really found too, well, what was underneath all this was
Hmm.
a level of potency and power that I
Yeah.
wasn't willing to really step into and be into. That's really like I was really hiding from that and not willing and being all these presumption reality. And again, presumption realities aren't wrong or right, but it's just that's what I was using them to not actually like step up to be
Hmm.
like, what we can be.
Yeah, totally. That's beautiful. Like it really contributed to me a lot too. I'm much more aware of where I am functioning from presumptive realities, even if I don't know what the presumption is. Once I just ask the question, how many presumptions do I have here? Then all of a sudden the energy changes. And it's been a great contribution to be in constant awareness almost every day with, our guests and talking about different topics on presumptive and need of reactive realities. It was about everything in life, from
It was
parenting to
amazing.
business to money and to
Entities.
relationships, to X-Men, to everything. And in every area of life, you have all these presumptions and need of reactive realities. It's just our almost programming. That's how we live our life, and we think this is us. And it is so far from the truth once you remove
And
all of them.
you know
Yeah.
what I really have found with all this too is the more knowing where I'm functioning from and then where other people are functioning from presumption reality
Mhm.
and either reaction reality. That's where the tool of allowance and vulnerability
Yeah.
came in with me. And I've been practicing in the last 4 days even more than ever to really lower down my barriers, like my barriers to come down, and then being in that allowance of interesting point of view of where like it's that person's functioning from presumption
Mhm.
reality, but knowing that then I've got a choice not to function from my presumption reality
Totally.
too.
Totally.
So
Totally.
that changes everything, when
Yeah.
you know where you're functioning from. And that's where that vulnerability part with their allowance and being brutally honest with yourself.
Mhm.
I'm going to bring this up because it was one of the turning points for me when you wrote in a message to me, snap out of it, Sarah. You
Sometimes this is,
wrote,
sometimes this is, like a sharp, a clear
it was so
choice.
it was brilliant because from that energy, it was this smack into like snap out of it. You are not what you're being, like look at this. But it wasn't from an unkindness, but it was from, and so then I went, okay, I have the tools. And so I just started clearing every presumption reality nonstop,
Beautiful.
and then started playing every video. And so,
Mhm.
we've got over 400 in the Facebook group now. So I would love people, this is just a request, not a or ask, please, like, this group is always going to be here. So, all the interviews will be here. So
Yeah.
please, feel free to watch them because every single guest, and it, like, you brought out so many different, clearings out of guests too. So it's a great resource, just letting people know that you can still join the group and everything. It's a great resource for information about this.
Yes, yes, totally, totally. And it keeps growing in access to now, we talk about needle reactive reality slimes, needle reactive response systems. More awarenesses are coming up. And who knows, what this will evolve into, and, more might come. But for now, as Sarah said, there's really a great resource here with all these recordings you can tap into, even doing something in your kitchen or driving. That's how I listen anyway, while I'm doing something at home or outside. I always have something on, listening, and you hear something different. And
Yeah.
it's your choice to use the tools, of course, but it is there, and you are the power in every presumptive reality that something is happening to you, that you are at the effect of things. Please destroy and uncreate it all. We are the creators of our own life.
So it's the finishing of
Yeah.
this series. So we may have another series, or we may have a completely different kind of series. But you've got a few things coming up. So could you talk about a few of
Yeah.
your classes are coming up?
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking even of that. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
How to Become Money workbook that will start on May 22nd, 10 days. And I'm
yeah,
really excited this time because every time there is a new creation, a new class, a telecall or a foundation. Now is the first time we will be reading it and doing processes with presumptive and needle reactive realities, and needle reactor reality slimes, and all that new awarenesses. They're changing those everything in our life so fundamentally. It is really big, and I am curious what that will create with how to become money workbook. And in that context, it will be the first time I'll do it with the presumptive realities. I really wonder what doors will open up.
Yep.
um that will be a nighttime for US. It's more like US and the whole America continent and Australasia friendly time, or delayed listening is also possible. I'm taking Simone's class now, but I'm always listening to it after the class is over
Yep.
because it's my 4 or 5 a.m. And I have a foundation in Minneapolis, 27th of May,
Yep.
coming up for 3.5 days. Now foundation is 3.5 days, and it's a new book with presumptive realities, and needle reactive realities also included, and new body processes for
Mm.
those. And I will have another foundation in June in Orlando. I made the graphic and everything is ready, but I forgot the dates. It's somewhere in June. And I have quite a few. I have an introduction to symphony in Minneapolis again on 30th of May,
Yep.
and so much more that I probably don't remember because it's all done, but I just need to tap into the energy and bring it out to announce. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Alone the Fam is waiting. It's gonna be in end of June starting. We'll see.
And the other thing is, we just finished money energy pools
Yeah.
last week too. They were amazing too. So
Oh yeah, it was amazing, and what it keeps creating in my life, I can't say thank enough for those energy pools. Even though I was the one facilitating, I still go back and listen to tap into that, and things keep showing up in my universe. Totally, totally. When you lower your walls and barriers and allow the universe to contribute and actively pull the energy, things are changed so rapidly. I really adore energy pools.
and like lowering down your barriers. When you've got your barrier, I've really started like
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging that more. When you got your barriers up to everything, nothing
Mm-hmm.
can come in. And then when you're functioning from that presumption reality or need a reactor reality, what can come in? But if your barriers are down and you out create your presumption reality, then a
Yeah,
whole new world can start turning up,
totally,
showing up. So
totally. So thank you
wow.
so much, Sarah, for being here and being the inspiration, and really that co-creation that has been brilliant and so much contribution to me and everyone
It's just
else, I'm
amazing,
sure. And what else is truly possible?
truly. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you.